Hello and welcome to this video which demonstrates the value of using Turnitin for grading assignments. This is not a video tutorial that shows you how to create a Turnitin assignment and a rubric and all that. Rather, this just shows you the value of why you want to do that. All right, so here we are. We're going to look at an example of an assignment. The very first assignment that we teach in one of our English classes, beginning English class, is how to write a professional email to a professor. All right, so I've covered the information that hides the student information. Okay, so here is the email that they had submitted. Okay, and they did it through Turnitin. Now I've got a bunch of different buttons over here. Now what do these do? And well, what can I do to help? Okay, so because I had to hide student information, this is anyway, you'll see. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is this little box over here, which is called quick marks. So, okay, so quick marks. When I click on that button over there, it shows me these quick marks. Now, these are things that I have set up in advance. These are things that I have created, which are basically little things that I'm looking for, or issues, or things they've done well for this particular assignment. So there's all these little notes, as it were. Okay, and so what I would do is I would look, okay, dear Professor Morgan, and then I would say, okay, part of the rubric, I know I've internalized the rubric, is this a good introduction? Well, what I would do then is I would drag over the one that says clear introduction. I just literally drag it and drop it over here. And when you click on clear introduction, then it has a definition. So when a student clicks on this, it says clear introduction, which includes your name and which class you attend. So they're understanding why this little mark is here. And again, I have a whole bunch of these that I'm going to just use as I'm grading these papers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through their paper, and I'm just going to drag over these quick marks that match up with whatever they have going on. So there's here's an example where I've done that. Okay, this student did an excellent job in this assignment. They did everything they were supposed to do. And so I just dragged over the ones that were supposed to be. So I didn't have to type it out every single time. I've already clearly defined this. And so, okay, so did it take the time set up? Yes, it did take time to set up. But I can go ahead and just put these in here. Okay, good. So it's got all the information I need. And then, so I've given them kind of feedback. So we got some more buttons over here we want to look at. Okay, that was just the quick mark one. What about this button right here? This is the plagiarism button, and this shows how much of the paper is considered to be copied and pasted from an outside source. And it shows me exactly what was copied and pasted. So in this case, it's saying that 22% of this paper has been plagiarized. Well, yes and no. I mean, it's dear Professor Morgan, my name is blah, 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 blah. Because we do this assignment so often, this is, this information right here is very common. Did they copy and paste that? Probably not. They more than likely just, it's just one of those very common phrases. We've done hundreds of these. It just kind of showed up as something that was copied and pasted. Okay, so that one, I would say, this is why you can't just go by a number and say, oh, you got to get that number down. It really depends on what they've done. Okay, now I'll show you an example of when it goes terribly wrong. This student, their number is 81. Okay. And the difference here is that it shows me that all this stuff down here was copied and pasted from a place called thebalance.com. Yeah, guess what they got? They got a 0 because they plagiarized. And it shows me exactly where they plagiarized it from. Okay? Not good. Okay? But you have evidence. You can't just say you plagiarized it. Well, you can't prove it. Well, yeah, actually, yes, I can. Yes, I can prove it. So that's the advantage of using the plagiarism checker there. All right, moving on. Oh, by the way, this is much more robust than what you'd find for just about any other tool because it saves not only, so again, if we go back one, let me just kind of go here. See this right here? It said it was submitted to Shaw University. So it's saving every single time a student submits a paper to Shaw University, it saves it in its repository so that it can check against that. It's not just checking against what's out there on the internet. Oh, so this one was on the internet, but it could also check papers that were sent to other schools or, schools that are here or whatever. Okay, moving on. All right, next thing we want to look at is the ETS button. Okay, this is a grammar checker that it actually has. It's not as good as I would say Grammarly, but it's not bad. Okay, so again, this is something you set up when you are creating the assignment, which again, this video is not showing you. But once you turn this on, it will then check the essay or whatever it is, and it'll show you, if there's anything here. So this one, it says, it's saying, hey, it's missing a hello, Professor Morgan. Okay, so it's recommending this, and you can always dismiss these as you see fit. But if this was full of grammar and mistakes, you'd see a whole bunch of purple in here. It'll help you find that. So that helps you figure out the grading as well. So that's a neat feature. All right, so let's go back to this. Now we have the rubric. And again, this is something that was set up in advance and attached to this assignment. Okay, and the rubric is right up there. Writing Project 1, English 110, spring. This was created back in spring 18. And then we have our rubric here. We have these different scales. And I can, again, this is, can't really show this in this video, but when you're actually grading, you can actually take this little button and you hold, drag and drop it, and you can move it to each of the different levels on the rubric. You're like, well, what am I grading? Well, down here, you can kind of see it. So right now, paragraph 10, this is what's highlighted, and this shows all 5 points were included in the paragraphs. Well, if I moved it over, it would show me what that criteria is. So then I would just kind of figure it out. And I just moved these sliders to figure out, okay, how well did they do on any particular one of these things? And it calculates the grade for me. Well, this student did everything they were supposed to do, so they got 100 out of 100. So once I've moved the sliders to where it should be, I'd hit apply to grade. It goes into the grade, which will then, if you set it up correctly, will go directly into their grade book in the learning management system. Okay, so that's the rubric. And then also there is this little place where they can leave them a text comment. Now notice, because I have put in all these quick marks, which really clearly identify a whole bunch, I don't need to put a lot here for this text comment, okay? I mean, this is kind of simple, but because I have more detail that's already been created here, that's something important. Okay, so there's text information. So we looked at that. This is all plagiarism stuff. That's okay. Now, one last thing I want to show you, which is very helpful, is this little button right here. Okay, I just clicked on this. When I click on this little arrow button, it gives me these options right here: current view, digital receipt, original submitted file. So I can download any one of these. So this one right here will give me a copy of the file that they sent with no markups or anything like this. Digital receipt just says yes, they absolutely submitted it. But the one that's really cool is current view. If you click on current view, what it's going to do is it's going to download, it's actually going to create a PDF. It's like a little mini report on this assignment. So it's going to download your comments here. It's going to download the rubric with what you've put on the rubric. And it's going to download any issues that have plagiarism. And it creates this whole big, nice document that you can use if there's a class that's being, I don't know, appealed or whatever, you need proof, or if you have to submit work that includes a graded paper with the rubric attached, this does that all for you. So there are some of the values of using the Turnitin grading system. As far as how to set this all up, that is a course for another day. But anyway, there you go.